So PS, we have your submission, including the corrections which have just been given just now. And members have gone through your document. But tomorrow I'll give you, say, if you need all of it, it's a maximum of 25 minutes to take us through your submission, and after that I'll allow the members to ask questions if at all they have any questions, and then we'll be done. Okay, having said that, PS, you can start.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, honorable members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. May I go straight to introductions?
Sure.
Number 1, introduction. This memorandum serves as a submission from Eastern Province to the Planning and Budget Committee of the Provincial Budget Performance Review of the 2024 financial year and first quarter of 2025. The memorandum provides the following information. Bulletin number 1, approved budgetary provision for Eastern Province for the year 2024 and 2025. Bulletin number 2, the proportion of the 2025 budget that was released and aggregate expenditure against the budget allocation in the first quarter, and this compares with the first quarter budget of 2024. Bulletin number 3, analysis of statement C showing aggregate expenditure per program, and bulletin number 4, analysis of budget releases, expenditure and output performance by program and sub-program in the first quarter of 2025. 2, approved budgetary provision for 2024 and 2025. The overall approved budget allocation for Office of the President, Provincial Administration, Eastern Province, Head 95, in 2025 increased by 12% to 147.76369 from 131.5 in 131.5 million in 2024. The budget allocation of personnel emoluments (PEs) increased by 15% to 108.786148 million in 2025 from 94.868525 in 2024. The increase is due to the allocation of dismantling of personnel-related areas, budgeting for unfrozen staff positions. I beg your pardon, budgeting for the unfrozen staff positions. The budget allocation for goods and services, which is recurrent departmental charges RDCs, increased by 14% to 31,080,878 kwacha in 2025 from 27,215,463 kwacha in 2024. The budget allocation for assets, both movable and non-movable, in 2025 reduced by 17% to 7,869,400 kwacha from 9,435,100,000 kwacha in 2024. Details of the 2024 and 2025 approved budgetary provisions, the variance and percentage increases according to economic classifications are highlighted in Table 1 below. May I proceed to page 3, Chair?
Sure.
Thank you. 3. Proportions of 2024 and 2025 first quarter budget estimates released. In the first quarter of 2025, a total of 33,303,220 kwacha was released. That is 72% of the first quarter budget profiles of 45,951,000 45,951,000, I beg your pardon, 45.9 million. Yeah. It represents, I stand to be corrected, Chair.
Yeah, that's 45,951,663.
Yes, please. The variance is attributed to the constrained physical space, whereas during the first quarter of 2024, a total of 28.221263, which stands for 64%, was released against the same quarter budget profiles of 44.198520. Table 2 below shows the details of the proportions of budget allocations released according to economic classifications for the first quarter of 2024 and 2025. Below is the table. Item number 4, analysis of Statement C, aggregate expenditure per program. The province in the first quarter of 2024 received 28.221263, out of which 26.735912 million was expended, representing 95%. The variances of 1.485352 in the first quarter of 2024 is attributed to two main reasons. First, funds allocated to infrastructure development were not spent as procurement processes for contractors was still underway during the first quarter and second quarter. Expenditure returns for funds disbursed to the districts were not captured in the system. During the same period in 2025, the province received 33.303220 million, and the actual expenditure was 32.255015 million, representing 97%. The variance of 1.048205 million is primarily due to two reasons. First, funds allocated to procurement of assets, both movable and immovable infrastructure development, were not spent awaiting procurement processes and the IPCs. Secondly, as the funding was not according to the budget profiles, some activities were not undertaken as the released funds were not adequate to undertake the planned activities. Table 3 below shows the analysis of Statement C, showing the aggregate expenditure per budget program for first quarters of 2024 and 2025. Page 4 on top is the table. May I continue
Yes.
to item number 5? Analysis of budget releases, expenditure and output performance by program and sub-program in the first quarter of 2025. I hope we've corrected that. This section only focuses on the analysis of budget releases, expenditure and output performance by program and sub-program in the first quarter of 2025. As highlighted above, the province in the first quarter of 2025 received 33.30322 million against the profiled 45.951663 million kwacha. During the quarter under review, the province had planned to achieve a total of 82 output targets, out of which 51, representing 62% of the total targets, were achieved, while 19, representing 33%, were partially achieved, and 12, representing 15%, were not achieved by the end of the first quarter of 2025. Annex 1, attached to this report, shows the performance in terms of output as outlined in the output-based budget for the province. Item number 6, challenges. Implementation of programs and projects in the province has been affected by the inadequate as well as the delayed release of funds for program implementation by Treasury, as the funding for January was released in February. May I proceed to page 5, Chair? Item number 7, conclusion. The total 2025 approved budget allocation for the province is 147.736369 million, out of which 33.303220, representing a 22.5% of the annual budget, was received in the first quarter of 2025 of the total released. The province managed to spend 32.255015 million in the first quarter of 2025. I wish to thank the Clerk of the National Assembly for inviting our province to submit the report to this committee. I submit, Chair and Honorable Members of Parliament.
Thank you very much, PS, for that submission. Honorable members, any questions? Honorable Simushi.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, PS, for your presentation. Mine is just it's not a question, it's just an observation on your annexes. So if you go to Annex 1, for example, you have your columns, and then you have at the end where it says second quarter outputs, then you have expected outputs based on the funds released, budgetary allocation in first quarter, then release first quarter. So when I look at the budgetary allocation first quarter, I don't know what you are putting there. Is confusing me. Are these the budgetary allocations? Are they amounts or figures in terms of amounts or percentages? Because when you have got 138, then 100%, I don't know. Maybe I need some clarification on that.
Thank you. You able to comment on that one, PS?
I'll request the planning. comment on that one, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable, for that observation. I think we apologies, we needed to indicate. So the 100%, maybe I start with the budgetary allocation in the first quarter. So these are amounts what were given, but we have also indicated the output, like what we have achieved from the allocation that we were given. So the columns third last and also second last, these ones are showing the output. But I think for future we'll put the quachas so that it's not confusing to you, so that the monies we put the kwacha. And also these ones, I wanted to just say that these ones we omitted the kwachas, but these ones, the numbers are the outputs that we achieved from the releases that we were given. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Honourable members? Honourable Mavumba?
Me, PS, I take you to page 3 of your submission. When you look at your economic classification on the assets, which is infrastructure, obvious for both 2024 and 2025, we have got those monies which are there. Maybe, Chair, I just want the PS to share what those budgets, what sort of infrastructure was targeted at for those amount of provision. And then second, you alluded to the fact that your procurement processes were not completed, and as a consequence of that, the money couldn't be spent. What attributed to the delay in the procurement process? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. PS?
Thank you, Chair. I'll call upon again the Planning Director.
And thank you, PS, and thank you, Honorable. So for the infrastructure, we started rehabilitating the provincial administration and also the permanent secretary's residence. So we started last year. The procurement was delayed because the funds came towards the end of the year. So we started, even up to now, we put an allocation to continue. So that's why we said, like, their IPs, the money that we said that was there, we've continued. So basically, it's the Provincial Administration Office block and also PS residence. Thank you.
Thank you. Then the procurement process, the delays?
Thank you, Chair. I'll request the Director of Finance.
Thank you very much, Chair. With regard to the procurement process, part of the delay was attributed to delayed releases of funds. The Public Finance Management Act usually requires that we do not commit the government to any date up until we have resources available. So we had embarked on a process of setting aside funds up until we accumulated a certain amount. Only then were we able to commence the procurement process so that we could pay the advance payments as well as the IPCs that came on board during the course of 2024. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Simunji, and then Honorable Simushi.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take you to your appendix. And this is item 2, budget program natural resources management. And I'm more interested in the number of forest concession areas inspected, where your target is 1, and the output is 0. And then you are saying target not achieved due to inadequate release of funds. Now, when I look at the other part, I can see money was released, money was spent, and then we are saying there's no money which was we were not able to achieve the target because there was no money. So may I have your comment on that item? Because as far as I'm concerned, if I go to Eastern Province now, you find the forests are being heavily affected by deforestation. Those people are making charcoal. Now, if we are not visiting these areas, then people are free to do whatever they want. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Simushi.
Thank you, Chair. I want to speak to the issue of the delayed release of funds from the Treasury. Now, this problem is odd. It's an odd problem. Now, I just wanted to find out, maybe this can go to the planning and the accounts department. When we are making a profiles, I think it's known that the first quarter funding always suffers, I think, this kind of a problem where you make your profiles and you are rest assured that actually, if you are lucky, maybe only half of what your profile will come. So the question that I have is, why do we continue making same profiles whereas we are requesting for the whole amount that we want to get, even when we know that the chances are that that will not come? Because then what it does is it paints this picture that Treasury does not release the monies, and then these activities that we have planned to undertake don't take place. But in actual fact, we know that actually, even as we do the profiles, I think from the time that I was there, I think that was the situation. And now I read it here many years later, it is still the same issue. First quarter funding. So why don't we also maybe adjust so that we don't create a scenario where we are showing a very big discrepancy between what is profiled and what comes. As the year continues, I think always the picture changes in terms of the profiles and what you actually get. Thank you so much.
Thank you. PS?
At times, Chair, old habits tend to die. They linger on. But I think I'll ask my directors to respond to that one, Chair.
Thank you, PS, and thank you, Honorable. Maybe I'll start with the one for the concessionaires. You are right that we need to be inspecting these forestry. And it's not that as a province we are not doing anything. I think we are leveraging on the partners that we have, BCP, and also we have the Eastern Jurisdiction Sustainable Landscape Project. So we are still tapping in those same ones, because like you said, like Honorable said, that sometimes even our funding from Treasury, they come late. So it's not that we are not doing anything. We are still doing, especially using the partners that we have. Yeah. So here it's unfortunate that we didn't have anything, but we couldn't get money from other activities to do this inspection. So because we could have come back here, Honorable, for misuse of maybe diverting the funds. So we still want to keep to what we have said we'll use the funds. But like I said, we are still doing something. And Honorable Smoshi, on the profiles, yes, we agree with you. I think there is need for us to change and start profiling, especially in the first quarter, less. But as a department, that's our wish that we would want to have, because there are certain activities that are seasonal, and we need to do them in the first quarter. So if we don't see still profile, we'll still be in trouble. So even it's our wish that the Treasury can still release those funds, especially for those activities that are seasonal that we are supposed to do around that time. But we get the council. We'll try to advise even the departments to change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. PS and your team, thank you very much. Unless if there's any question. Honorable Mumba, do you have any question?
Good morning, Chairperson. No, I don't have any questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Okay, we'll end here. I must in fact indicate that your report in terms of what we needed, the layout, everything, this is how it should be. So just to commend you that the report says well. That's why you see even members are not struggling to. We don't have a lot of issues. This is how it should be. I was telling some colleagues. Anyway, I will not go in those lines, but PS, I think the layout and everything has been very good. It makes our work to follow through. So just to ask you to continue in this manner, and obviously to add on to a few concerns that which have been raised. Okay, so as you go, they've been appearing before this committee. Yeah, so we can only wish you the best as you go back to Eastern Province. Travel well, kept of the laws of Zambia in terms of the immunity that which was given to you earlier when we also end here. Do have a good day. Thank you very much for coming, PS. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Would like to thank you for your viewership. That's the Eastern Province just making their submission before the Planning and Budgeting Committee that's reviewing the budget performance of the 2024 financial year and first quarter of 2025. And as you saw, the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Jatila, commending Eastern Province for submitting a good report. And so that was the last witness for today. Earlier on, we did have the disaster and mitigation unit that did make an appearance before the committee, the Planning and Budgeting Committee. And be sure to join us tomorrow after 9:30 as more witnesses will be appearing before the Planning and Budgeting Committee. From me, Claudette Sindaza Jonga, my sign language interpreter, Chola Kauma, and the entire studio and production crew would like to thank you for your time and do have a lovely morning.